sociology major with a minor in chemistry. Previous studies on accessibility and disability have mostly focused on the student experience, where students are struggling, where they're not being met, and where they could be receiving better support. However, there's limited information on the faculty side of things, where faculty is struggling and can receive better support. Therefore, there is a gap that needs to be closed. So I decided to focus my thesis on faculty perceptions toward accessibility in the college setting, college classroom. I began my research by asking myself this question: how are faculty understanding accessibility within their classroom? In order to determine how faculty are understanding accessibility, we need to determine what factors shape and define their understanding of accessibility. Here are some key facts and figures I'd like to share with you. According to the National Center for Educational Statistics, 11% of students attending college nationwide have accessibility challenges. Additionally, according to the National Science Foundation, about 23% of students with disabilities are majoring in STEM-related fields, such as biology, engineering, and so on, while about 76% of students with disabilities are majoring in non-science-related fields, such as business, education, and so on. Therefore, I thought there might be a gap across divisions that was worth exploring. Here are some key terms and theories that help to guide my research. The first one is the social model of disability. The social model of disability says barriers in society make people disabled. Therefore, it is society's job to remove those barriers. So let's picture a food store where a person in a wheelchair is able to enter the store. There's a wheelchair accessible ramp, there's automatic doors. However, all the food items on the shelves are beyond their reach. Therefore, that place is inaccessible. Inequality regimes was coined by Joan Abner, who examined organizations from a theoretical perspective in terms of class, gender, and race. Inequality regimes are interrelated practices, processes, actions, meanings that result in and maintain class, gender, and racial inequalities within particular organizations. While this does not focus on accessibility, we can still think about inequality regimes in terms of barriers to accessibility, because there are barriers to accessibility in terms of class, race, and gender. Wingfield and Austin coined the term racial tasks by examining organizations from a racial perspective. Racial tasks are work that is completed by racial minorities and maintains and upholds whites' position in power. However, racial tasks focuses on racial minority groups, such as blacks and Hispanics and so on. Therefore, I decided to take the term racial tasks and alternate it into ability tasks to think about it in terms of accessibility. Ability tasks are tasks that serve to build and or maintain a culture where able-bodiedness is normalized and treated as standard across the board. An example of an ability task can include a student having distraction-reduced testing on their accommodation letter. Therefore, during an exam, that student will be removed from their classroom into a different room to be accommodated. However, the environment is not changed. It's still made for people who are able-bodied across the board. Throughout this presentation, I'll be mentioning some examples that are ability tasks and are not ability tasks. Methodology. As I originally began this research, I thought there might be a difference across disciplines and divisions. Therefore, I decided to interview about 3 to 4 faculty members in 4 different divisions: STEM, social sciences, arts and humanities, and languages. The questions in the interviews focused on accessibility in terms of providing accommodations, challenges, adaptations, and dealing with certain disabilities and receiving support from the school. And as I said, I initially thought there would be a difference. So I took all my interviews, had them all manually transcribed, and made these enormous Excel spreadsheets. And as I looked for common themes, there was no difference. So here are some common themes that I found. The first theme that emerged was undocumented and not self-identified. In order to receive academic supports and accommodations under the law, students need to disclose their disability to the school. However, some students have chosen not to disclose. One faculty member said, "There are some people where I've often wondered, based on the types of errors they're making, I'm consistently thinking that there may be an undocumented learning disability." Faculty have reported and described instances where they have felt or wondered, are there some students who either did not self-identify or disclose their disability status? Additionally, they reported some students felt that the necessary testing for appropriate documentation was not worth the money. Therefore, right there, we see a significant barrier in terms of class. If you cannot afford the testing, you cannot receive the documentation, which then means no accommodations. So that's a significant barrier in terms of class. And faculty mentioned some students did not feel comfortable speaking to their professor due to previous experiences on attaining accommodations. Therefore, faculty are not aware of the struggles, the frustrations, and additional changes they can do to make their class more accessible. Accessibility issues at the university level are invisible because able-bodied people do not fully understand accessibility until they experienced it. And persons with disabilities are hidden within the organizational structure because the organization is not made accessible to them. Challenges and adaptations. Inside and outside the classroom, faculty face numerous challenges when providing accommodations to students with disabilities. Despite these challenges, they strive to make certain adaptations to overcome them. The discussion sessions are most challenging when it comes to students with hearing disabilities, and maybe even when it comes to students with other kinds of behavioral conditions who have trouble with self-regulation or make very emotive responses without pausing to think. I think the benefits of a discussion-guided class outweigh the risks. Faculty have reported attendance and participation to be a significant challenge because they are not sure how they can handle them accordingly. For example, students with chronic illnesses at no fault of their own are not able to predict when they have flare-ups, and therefore they cannot attend class. As one professor said, if you are feeling horrible and are in pain, you're not going to be able to participate to the best of your ability. So therefore, they're not sure how they can grade them accordingly in a way that does not penalize them for something they can't control. Additionally, group work and class discussion can be challenging. Students can either feel isolated, have difficulties participating emotionally, or not be able to take in the appropriate information. So let's picture a class, say a physics classroom. There's tons of stuff going on. Students are at the boards, doing problems, working together, sharing information. However, a student who's deaf can have trouble being able to hear and take the information in and contribute. So they're not able to learn anything or contribute. And students who are on the autism spectrum disorder can have issues with sensory overload and have trouble participating. So therefore, they don't benefit. Despite these issues, faculty have attempted to remove some of these barriers in the classroom by utilizing certain adaptations, such as closed captioning for all films, creating PowerPoints, using visual materials such as graphs and diagrams to explain certain concepts and ideas. Classroom management focuses on how faculty manage their classroom on a daily basis, how they design their syllabus, assignments, projects, exams, and papers. One professor stated, I also try to design my tests so that they can be completed in less time than class time necessary, so those that don't have accommodations should still be able to take their time and finish. So let's picture a 50-minute class, and a professor designs a 30-minute exam. Therefore, everyone, regardless of accommodations, would have an additional 20 minutes to finish. Therefore, that would not be an ability task. An ability task would be a student with disabilities receiving time and a half, and everyone else not receiving time and a half. Because the environment was changed by giving everyone 20 minutes, whereas in time and a half, it's only one person. Additionally, in lab-based classrooms, such as sculpture studios, chemistry, physics, and bio, safety always has to come first. Therefore, students are often using dangerous tools and instruments, and students with motor issues can have trouble using these tools safely. That keeps them safe and everyone else safe. Therefore, faculty often have to be concerned about that. Faculty are constantly mixing up and using a variety of different methods and techniques so that everyone has a strength in something and can contribute to the class. The barriers have now been identified. Testing is expensive, so it's difficult to obtain documentation without the testing. Additionally, some students do not disclose, and faculty lack access to information, and they have a lack of training and accessibility because that is not accessible. Therefore, faculty desire more information on working with students with disabilities. However, they not only desire more information, they want the ability to predict the barrier in advance before it happens. But they not only want to predict the barrier, they want to be able to overcome these barriers. Techniques and ideas, such as universal design do work, and they're wonderful. But before we can implement them, we need to understand the history, the issues, and the problems with that barrier before implementing them. Thank you.